Of all the ocean's predators, sharks evoke the strongest emotions. And no wonder, they're nature's perfect hunters. Shark is a common term for cartilaginous predators. Their skeleton is very light, which allows them to move rapidly. They have a characteristically streamlined fusiform body and an asymmetrical caudal fin. The upper lobe of the fin is always larger than the lower lobe. In certain species, the caudal fin has evolved into a weapon that they can use to stun their prey. Some sharks can grow up to as much as 15 meters long and weigh up to 30 tons. Currently, we know of 512 different species of shark. They began their reign 420 million years ago and continue to rule the seas and oceans up to this day. They exhibit different types of behavior and have various methods of survival. Although some of them may look strange at first glance, we should remember that their appearance is the result of their perfect adaptation to their environment. There are a few species of shark that can be dangerous under certain conditions. However, the man-eating shark is nothing more than a Hollywood myth. Attacks on humans are often the result of a shark mistaking a person for a seal. In reality, it is the shark who has more to fear from people than the other way round. Large-scale fishing expeditions have contributed significantly to the decrease in shark populations, even bringing some species to the brink of extinction. The chance to meet the largest members of the shark family, or those who are unfairly branded as man-eaters, always brings a significant dose of excitement and adrenaline. Once we take a closer look and realize how these creatures get their food, we can clearly see that the popular myth of the man-eating shark is heavily exaggerated. Most sharks feed on small fish. Of all sharks, it is the hammerhead that can be credited with the most remarkable appearance. Adults lead a solitary life and prefer to live in small groups. However, there comes a time in their life when they form into groups composed of hundreds and sometimes even thousands of sharks. Cocos Island is located in the Hammerhead Triangle, the very heart of the shark's annual migration route. This corner of the Pacific hosts the largest population of these predators. Located 500 kilometers off the coast of Central America, it is the largest desert island in the world, covered with dense tropical forest and rich in fresh water. For centuries, it has been a safe haven for these ocean-bound troublemakers. Legend has it that these lands hold treasures of incomprehensible value. However, none of them have ever been found, despite many expeditions. Waters surrounding the island set the stage for one of the most spectacular shows on our planet. The first sharks emerge out of the great blue expanse. This is just the prelude to a spectacle that takes place once a year. Shark mating, It is remarkable how delicate and subtle these ferocious predators can be when choosing a mate. The sharks form into a great school. The largest females, which guarantee the best chance of healthy, strong offspring, swim into the middle. The males will have to win their affection in a million-year-old ritual that is repeated every year. One of the most popular myths about sharks is that they have to swim in order to breathe. This is only true for some species. Sharks need to be in constant motion, not to breathe, but rather in order not to drown. And as they do not have an air bladder, they cannot float in water like other fish. Even though a shark's skeleton is very light, the moment they stop swimming, they will simply sink to the seabed. There are some species that choose to rest on the seabed. One such species is the lemon shark. This large, almost 3-meter-long shark owes its name to the characteristic yellow color of its fins. Lemon sharks live in shallow coastal waters. Thanks to their unique coloring, they perfectly blend in with the sandy bottom, becoming virtually invisible to other fish. Lemon sharks most often live in small groups. Despite their considerable size, they're not dangerous. The lemon shark belongs to a species of sharks that likes to rest on the bottom of the ocean. While lying motionless, it sucks in water, pumping it into its gills. Another example of a shark that can breathe while resting on the bottom of the ocean is the white-tip reef shark. What is characteristic about this particular species is that white-tips like to rest in groups. If we look behind their head, we can clearly see the gills working. These longitudinal slits are common for all sharks. Most often, sharks choose to live near the remote, desolate islands that are spread across the planet's oceans. Fish that seek shelter in these areas are like a magnet for predators. The Parted Rock is the summit of an underwater volcano that lies in the Mexican corner of the Pacific. Centuries of erosion have taken their toll on the volcanic cone, turning it into a rock that's just a few meters wide. The natural shelves created on the vertical walls are ideal resting places for the tired sharks. Curled up together, they look nothing like the bloodthirsty, man-hungry beasts that are portrayed on the silver screen. There are two scenarios in which sharks can behave aggressively. The first is during mating. Just as with hunting, in order to mate, a shark has to be in the right place at the right time. Male sharks rely on their keen senses to detect the pheromones of a female that is ready to mate from kilometers away. they rally to the females and surround them as fast as possible. Although this behavior is typical for all requiem sharks, it can seem quite barbaric from our point of view. Finally, both join together in a brutal mating act. The males brutally approach the females and then bite them, which looks more like assault than courtship. However, sharks have very thick skin, and this specific foreplay is not painful. Females bear the markings of this foreplay for the rest of their lives. Only the strongest males are able to mate, and it is their genes that will be passed on to future generations. The second scenario is hunting. Their speed and ability to find prey from afar is unparalleled. Sharks mostly target sick, weakened, and wounded fish, but they can also feed on carrion. The tiger shark owes its name to its characteristic dark stripes and aggressive demeanor, which resembles that of the great land predator. Contrary to popular belief, it is possible to dive with tiger sharks without any special safety measures, provided, of course, that the diver remains cautious. The shark moves gently along the seabed, conserving its energy. Its extremely keen senses can pick up just about anything that is happening in the water within a radius of a few kilometers. Suddenly, there's a change in the shark's behavior. The race has begun. The shark has sensed its prey. And it's first come, first served. This time, the young whale was out of luck. More and more sharks arrived to join the feast. And after a while, there is not much left. Of all shark species, the great white is #1 when it comes to adapting to its environment. This perfect predator has been roaming the seas for over 400 million years. Although humans are not on its menu, and those attacks that do take place are most often unfortunate accidents, diving with great whites requires extra precautions. No one wants to fall victim to the great white, even by accident. And next to this 5-meter giant, these large metal cages don't seem all that sturdy. No other animal is equipped with such a vast array of refined sensory mechanisms to aid in the hunt. The mouth of the great white looks terrifying. This is mostly due to the fact that it keeps on growing new teeth. Over the course of its lifetime, the shark can grow and replace several thousand teeth. All these tools make the great white nature's deadliest hunter. The favorite items on its menu are seals and sea lions. Their fat bodies provide enough energy for the shark's long oceanic voyages. The most spectacular hunts take place near Cape Town in South Africa. These shallow waters are the feeding grounds for sea lions. These creatures are well aware of the danger that is lurking in the depths. That is why they have developed their own early response system. When one sea lion gives the signal, all others immediately flee. The shark's plan is simple. It tries to isolate its prey from the herd, cutting off its escape route. Once it succeeds, the shark immediately changes strategy. It dives under the sea lion, and then, in a split-second attack, launches its unsuspecting prey out of the water. The disorientated sea lion has virtually no chance of surviving. Sharks are at the very top of the food chain. They don't have many natural enemies, but sea lions can be quite formidable foes. Although they can't rival the great whites, smaller sharks must be more cautious. Sea lions show no mercy when it comes to a young leopard shark. Basking sharks, which are among the planet's largest fish, have a similar diet. In search of the basking shark, we head to the wild and remote coast of Scotland. These creatures used to be a lot easier to find, but given their mild nature and slow movements, they were an easy catch for local fishermen, who reduced their numbers significantly. Today, these creatures are under complete protection. Although they can dive as deep as 900 meters in search of plankton, they prefer to swim close to the surface and bask in the sun, hence the name basking shark. Thanks to yet another guilty pleasure, we can easily spot these creatures from the air. Basking sharks, just like manta rays, are filter feeders. Their gills are equipped with special rakers that allow them to filter plankton. Despite their considerable body mass, basking sharks are harmless, just like the largest fish in the world, the whale shark. In order to meet this creature, we head all the way to the other hemisphere, to the Californian peninsula. Its warm waters, rich in plankton, are the perfect place to find the water giant. the whale shark. Thanks to its characteristic spots and body, it's impossible to confuse this giant with any other fish. Its technique for obtaining plankton differs from the other filter feeders we mentioned before. The whale shark sucks in water along with the plankton, closes its mouth, filters out the food, and then releases what is left back into the water. This feeding technique is actually the reason for the whale shark's slow movements. The slower it moves, the more food it can get. However, don't be fooled. If necessary, the whale shark can speed up to 30 kilometers per hour with one swing of its enormous tail fin. Given that this is the largest fish in the world, it is remarkable how little we know about it. Thanks to satellite tracking, we do know that these creatures cover extremely long distances, although the reasons for these journeys still remain a mystery. We also don't know their exact lifespan. Scientists suspect that they can live up to 150 years old. Only recently, it was discovered that whale sharks can live in large groups composed of hundreds of individuals. Up until that point, it was believed that they were solitary creatures.